What if the second half of your life was the most powerful part of your story? Welcome to Seizing Your Greatness. I'm Julianne Meyer, and today's guest is a living example of what it means to rise, reclaim your voice, and live life on your own terms. Patrice Baker is an inspirational speaker, author, and powerhouse life coach for women over 50. Known for her raw honesty and relatable storytelling, she helps women move from surviving to thriving, inviting them to rewrite their narrative with more joy, more grace, and unstoppable spirit. Her book, Life Ain't Nice, So Get Over It, is rooted in real pain, from losing her father as a child to navigating her son's mental illness as a mother. But it's also infused with grit, humor, and hard-won wisdom. Through her podcast, Soul to Soul with Patrice C. Baker, she's helping women everywhere break free from fear and start over with purpose. Patrice, I am honored to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you, Julianne. I am honored to be with you. So thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this conversation since we connected earlier. Gosh, it's probably been a few weeks at least, but I'm so glad because when I came across your podcast, I was so moved by just the way you tell stories and have these wisdom nuggets that are dropped all the time. And it's fun to listen to you share about yourself. And speaking of sharing about yourself, I would love for you to tell us something that maybe we can't find out about you on the internet.
Well, I am a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. I'm actually a fan of the coach, but we won't say that.
So if he switches teams, then you'll be that team's fan.
Probably.
Oh, hey, you're loyal. I love that. What got you into that? Into
Just
football in
watching
general.
sports. Yeah, I was married to, a gentleman who loved sports, played sports. And actually, I never learned to watch the game until after we divorced. So
Oh, that's so funny. I
it is
love that
funny.
though.
It is. And so I love the game. I love the colors. So that's another thing, and I just actually admire how he leads his team and their camaraderie. So yeah, I love it.
Wow. That is so amazing. I really like that. Um, so I'm just curious, you know, that's what you do in your spare time, but how did you decide that women of a certain age bracket really just don't need to sort of slow down, but should maybe live more of their life versus giving in to like the daily pressures?
Well, I guess I would say it happened to me. It was thrown upon me, and I had done a lot. I mean, from a child losing my dad, and then adulthood carrying all the isms and the negatives and the low self esteem, and then determining to with my children to build theirs up, realizing they had very high self esteem and I didn't. And as I moved in the road, I moved to other from a corporate world to a nonprofit world. And I was at the end of the nonprofit world, and it was as if there's something more for you to do. I hadn't thought of it. I was just rolling along, moving forward, doing what had to be done, and living my life. And it was usually for other people. So
Most women do tend to do that.
I didn't realize I'd get the chance. And so it laid on my heart that, I'll have to say I didn't want to speak to women initially. I love us, but we're a lot of work.
Well said. It is
Yeah.
very true.
And as a result, I had shied away from that. I could, coach other people. I've always spoken and talked to men, women, young people, etc. But I felt a yearning in my heart to reach out to women, to our sisters, because we need us. We are living in our stories that are not uplifting us, but they're usually beating us down every day. And although we're the main character, we're also the villain in the story. And I knew we need to change that because it's our calling. We need to be available today to show that we are unstoppable, to stand up, to speak our voice, to make change in ourselves and in the world. And we're powerful and we're necessary.
We are necessary and we are powerful. And I do believe that a lot of women don't realize because it's kind of been conditioned out of us to
Absolutely.
recognize, or, we get attributed with negative things if we do stand up for ourselves and are
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what inspired you to put pen to paper and write your book?
It was during a time in my life where I was called upon, because I think we're called upon each phase, each season. We get an assignment, if you will, and we don't ask for the assignment. It pops, it shows up, and we have to show up with it. And it was during my son's mental illness diagnosis at 16. And in that journey, which I pretty much had to walk it. I just say that's a God journey. God and I walked that journey together for the sake of taking care of my son, which was a no brainer, which was, that's non negotiable. And as I went through that process, I would get calls from other people who were tell me about women who, were afraid of their children or didn't know what was going on and those kind of things. And so I would talk to them and try help them through the journey. However, my journey was so unique. My son was underage, which is important. I was able to put him under conservatorship, which was important. So I was able to maintain an element of control over his medical health. And I thought, well, let me put that in a book along with, we were having a family reunion and we were honoring our ancestors. And they asked me to write a tribute on what the ancestors meant to us or means to us. And I started thinking about, they planted seeds. They planted seeds in my parents, my mom and her family, which fell down to us, our church children, hard work, love, family, church, all of those things that are seeds that need to sprout. And I had done that for my own children and had not done it for myself. So I think it was time for me to put it in a book to let people know some of the journey and also add the mental health information. I did a section and I told stories about, the love challenges with my son. They weren't lovely at the time. However, I'm grateful today because he is a wonderful young man who is thoughtful. He's my one side of my genius. I have two geniuses, a son and a daughter.
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad that you're able to create, maintain a wonderful relationship with him. I mean, because when it comes to mental health and you just it's so
Yeah.
hard. I used to work in the mental health arena, so your person is in there.
Yes.
But
Yes.
there's other factors that are affecting them. And so
Mhm.
I appreciate you being willing to share your journey about being in it with him because
Yes.
us as caregivers,
Hmm.
people forget. Like you're struggling just as much as the person
Absolutely.
who is dealing with the issue.
And sometimes more because you can't see it. And what I,
Exactly.
yeah, and
Yeah,
what I had
especially
to,
when it's not, it's one of those invisible conditions.
yeah,
It's one thing if somebody has a broken leg, you can see that.
absolutely.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So I'm curious too, is that part of when you started really realizing hey, because I think with women too, let me rephrase this. I
Hmm.
think with women too that we tend to pour from an empty cup for as long as we can, and then we realize, whoa, I got nothing in here, and it's we finally come to a realization I need to have a full cup in order to give, and that tends, at least for me, that's how I ended up actually taking care of myself. Is that something that pointed you in the right direction as well?
Absolutely. Actually, we fall on our face. We fall down, and we jump, normally jump back up, and we can't jump. So
Yeah,
when we
it's
can no
yeah.
longer jump up, we got a signal. Finally, there's a message, and it says you need to take care of yourself. You're not well, And the other thing is, I realized with my son is that I had to stay on top of my game, if you will, in order to look out for him. And so I was a priority as well. So as
Yeah.
far as communicating with him, I had to make sure that I was safe at all
Hmm.
times because some people don't believe when they're off their medication, they're not really the person they were to you initially. You see, he
Yeah.
wasn't my son off medication. So I knew to take care of that, get him to the hospital, create a space. However, when he was in however, it was important to set a communication with him that confirmed that what I raised him up to believe, to fear God and me, and that was interchangeable. But either way, he was raised to fear God and me, and
Mhm.
today that's still at he's what he's 45, yeah, 45. My other genius is 56, and they live by that. It's not a terrifying space, but it's a whole space. You know,
I think it's more like guardrails more than anything versus fear.
good word, good word.
It's
I
like,
love that.
okay, you might
I
bounce up
love
a little bit here and there, but
yes,
you're gonna stay on
yes,
that path.
absolutely. Stay with the intention, and
Yeah.
that is the intention to get better, regardless of what state you're in. For us, oftentimes our initial goals can feel really glamorous, but life is not often that way.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to look inside while you're struggling to see your gift. But I know it's in there. My intention with speaking to women and coaching women is that I know it's in there and I can help bring it out because I'm not afraid to speak to it. I can step to it and speak to it in a heartbeat. You know, you can tell me that you're fine, and I'll say, no, you're not. I
That F word. We do
don't
use
think
the F
so.
word a lot.
Yes, 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 yes. So we use the other F word.
Well, the thing that I truly that I enjoy about you, that's probably a good
Mhm.
word, a good way to put it, is just how straightforward you are, but it's with kindness too. You can tell the truth without being mean.
Yes, yes. And over time, I realized nobody was attacking me or, punching me in the face. And so I realized that was a gift, you know. So I'm aware of it's a gift. So I don't overstep. I have to use that wisdom and that sense that God has given me to know when to step off. However, I can become softer in it. And when I become softer in it, then it changes the other person because I'm not here to harm. I'm here to
Exactly.
help. Yeah,
No, exactly, and it goes back to, like you said, intention.
yes,
What is the goal of
yes,
speaking that truth? Is it to genuinely help someone? Because I get told things all the time I don't necessarily wanna hear, but
mhm,
when it comes to me in a loving way, I can digest it. I won't
absolutely,
like it, but I can digest it.
absolutely. And that's, people have said, Patrice, you say things other people want to say but don't.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's something I treasure, I respect. I don't take it lightly. And so, the intention is to let you, the person know I'm speaking with, know that I choose to have your best interest in mind when we're speaking. However, I don't have all the information, so you have to help me.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that too. It's like you're not pretending to know all the answers and all of the things. It's just, hey, this is my perspective and this is what I see and this is how
Yes,
I can help.
yes.
And it's not just pointing out to point out. It's really genuinely one of those things. And the reason why I'm harping on this so much is because I
Mhm.
think people need to learn this skill.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah, I
yes.
love that. I love that so much. Was it hard for you to write the book?
No, the book wrote me, I say.
I
It
like
was
that.
very interesting. I'd wanted to write a book. Did I take any notes or chapters? I think I had set up the chapters first. I got the title first. Life ain't nice, so get over it. And then insights to move you from stuck to unstoppable.
Mhm.
And that came first. And then when I sat down to write, it flowed.
Mm, I love
And
that. It
yes,
just came through you.
and that's part of my what I share, my inspirational leadership speaking, my coaching with women, my encouraging women, my inspiring women, is because it comes through me and I'm living what I'm sharing. So it's not anything that's outside. I've gone through what you've gone through. I'm still going through stuff, and I will always go through something until they lay me down. And that's real. That's real life, real stuff. So I know you're hurting. I know there's a way to work through that. It's
Mhm.
not easy always because the one thing that we shy away from is our story, particularly when it's not carved in love, particularly when it's carved in our assumptions. I made an assumption that when my dad died, he left me and I was abandoned. And that
Mhm.
was so not true. But that's what I carried into my life, into relationships with men, into
Mhm.
relationships with women, into relationships, period, with life. And I didn't look that way, so nobody believed me because we know how to look like we aren't.
Exactly, that's so true. How old were you when he passed?
I was 9.
That's right, 9.
Yes. And so over the years, I'm looking back at 9-year-old little girls, and I'm like, I didn't have a clue. I had no control. What am I doing? But I
Yeah.
didn't get that until much, much later in life. And I had to dig. I had to do the work. I had to face some things. And interestingly enough, you go through that, but you don't stop going through that because in this season of this assignment, if you will, of the coaching, like I said, I wanted to be in the background. I didn't want to speak again.
Mhm.
And everybody said, "Well, you have to speak." And so I said, "Okay, let me give up those things that I claim I don't want to do." And I am an inspirational speaker, and that's how I reach my clients through being in front of them on stage in places where they can see me, hear me, and decide. I'm not for everybody. And I think when we uh, give up, we sometimes tell ourselves, "I'll never do that again," or "I'm
Mhm.
not good enough for that," or "It won't work for me." When we give up all of those statements that are not true, when we
Mhm.
dispel the lies and look at the truth of what happened. My dad died in a process of getting an operation to take care of his family, to work and to feed his family. That story empowers me, not the
Mhm.
other
And we do. We tell ourselves stories all the time.
one.
So I love this idea of rewriting it in
Mhm.
order for it to serve you and be powerful because your new version, which is just as true as
Yeah.
feeling wise. I mean, the
Yes.
facts are the facts, but the
Yes.
story we can change.
Right. You do.
The facts are he passed. The facts
That's
are,
right. That's right.
but knowing and changing that narrative to he was trying to take care of his family. He was trying
Yes.
to be there for us, not he
Yes.
abandoned us.
Exactly.
And, you know, I was 14 when my mom passed, and
Mhm.
I knew that she didn't abandon me, but I didn't realize until much later in life that I
Mhm.
still carried those emotions, those
Yes.
issues, those abandonment issues. So I totally appreciate when other people are like, "Oh yeah, I do that
Mhm.
too," or "I did that," and now there's
And
another story.
yeah, and the other invisible thing that happens, no one so emotions, we talk about emotional intelligence, and I was talking about emotions years ago in a different way. When I first started speaking around the time I wrote the book, I would tell people that no matter what age I look right now, you're looking at me, I'm 2 years old on the inside.
Mm,
And they go, "Oh, yeah, sure, right, right." No, no, no. Emotionally, I'm 2 years old
mm,
because I did not know how to process, acknowledge, tell you what I was feeling. I had raised children who had that on the tip of their tongues, and I was grateful for that, but it wasn't in me. So an incident would happen, for example, and it would hit me emotionally, and I'd stay stuck right there until like a week or so later, because nobody, if they asked me right then, "What are you feeling?" I'd have no idea. But a week or so later, you know what? But by then, who wants to talk about it?
mm.
They're like, "Didn't you get over that?" And I'm like, "No, actually, I didn't." And so I had to grow up on the inside. I had to do the inside work. That's where it's an inside job comes from,
Mhm.
because what we carry inside of us dictates what we do.
Yeah.
And we are so frozen inside and so locked in that we can't feel in the moment.
Mm.
Then later on, we find, oh, I'd like to feel that now. The opportunity may not be there. And emotional well-being, emotional health that inside work is so vital to us, particularly as women, because our lives are so much around doing, showing up and doing, showing up and doing. And nobody really asks, well, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I was never asked that as a child. How do you feel about that, Patrice?
I was never asked that either. It
I
is,
figured they didn't care.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those things too, where as the generations move forward, we
Yes,
are starting to ask these types of questions because
yes.
they do matter. And it's
Hmm.
kind of like, I think about school in general and how the most I'd say at high school, the things that I
Hmm.
remember that are useful to me was how to like balance my bank account and
Okay.
how to do a proper handshake. Those are the two things that I remember that have served me well. Like everything else, like calculus,
Nah, not so much.
yeah.
I took home economics and learned to sew. I didn't learn to cook from there, but anyway, it was
I learned both. So that was, I actually still have a couple of recipes that I still cook to this day
Ooh,
from home ec.
there you go.
That's
And
funny.
speaking of school, having both of my children going through, well, my son's education in that realm was cut short. However,
Mhm.
my daughter has her doctorate. So that's why I say I have two genius. She's on one end of the spectrum and he's on the other. But going through that system, you need a coach, you need a life person who
Yeah.
is managing your time, monitoring things. When my daughter, was very intelligent and active in school, and they got that, so they wanted to pile things onto her. And I said, nope, nope, you got three, four things. If you're going to take one on, you let one go.
Yep.
That kind of life management is vital, along with the education. When they're working together, they're impactful and effective.
Mm.
However, separated, it's damaging. It's
Yeah.
because we don't know how to set boundaries. We don't know how to say, help, I need help. We don't know how to say, what you see is not what is really happening inside of me. So give me a minute. Can you
Yeah.
listen to me for a minute? Can we just take some time to sit down? Can I just share with you what's going on? Yeah.
Oh, I love that. We are running low on time. We only have a couple of minutes left. So I want to ask you my famous question.
Yes, yes.
What is something that you wish I would have asked you?
Well, I've been married twice. Do I want to get married again?
Do you? Yes. That is a question though. Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. I'm in a weird place in my relationship. So I'm curious,
Mm,
really, would you like to get married again?
yes, yes, and incorporating everything I've learned about what it takes to communicate, to be someone's champion, to have someone's back. All those parameters have to be in place. And
Mm,
so if it doesn't happen, it's okay too.
because you're not alone.
I'm not
So
alone.
you're not
Mhm.
alone.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love
And if
that.
it's not the right fit, there's no reason. And that's why I speak to, women who have been through challenges, who baby boomers born in my time, the veterans born before me in my mom's time.
Yeah.
And, my daughter's a Gen X. So, but all of us who came before that, are still in a mighty struggle oftentimes. And we want relationships that are healthy, loving, and supportive. We can have them. We have to do that for ourselves first.
Yes, yes, we do. On that note, we are basically out of time. Patrice, I just wanted to say thank you so much for showing up and being here with us today. I truly love your wisdom, your sense of humor, and your straightforwardness.
Thank you so much, Julie, and I appreciate you and all that you're doing to make this world a different place. So I'm loving this. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
And for those of you who are watching, go to Patrice's website. We've had it up throughout the show. It will also be in the show notes. And enjoy the rest of your week. We will be back again next Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Until then, bye for now.
Bye bye.